he has severe like addiction issues
So what, like alcohol?
to alcohol, opiates, benzos, basically like gambling, anything that you can get addicted to, he will get addicted to it. And so that put a strain on our relationship because I couldn't trust him anymore.
Yeah.
And
Let's get to that.
Yeah.
Let's start here. Okay, so
Yeah, of course.
I have a set of questions, but
Sure.
what is your name? And how old are you?
My name is Tatiana, and I am 28. I just turned 28.
Okay, happy related birthday.
Thank you.
Of course. You told me already, but just for you two, what is your relationship status?
I am currently getting divorced. Not a very happy divorce by any means, but it has to come, unfortunately. Yeah.
So for how long have you been married?
I've been married for 2 years now. I got married on January 31st of 2024, so it's been 2 years. And I never expected I would be getting divorced after being married for 2 years at all.
Yeah.
No.
So you said you're 27, right?
28.
28 now. 28. How old is your
My husband, he's 31.
31?
Yeah.
And before you guys were married, how long did you guys know each other?
We knew each other for about a year and a half before we decided to get engaged. So we are both veterans. We met at the VA. And when we first met, like I was, head over heels in love with this man. Like I just knew, I was like, I want to have his babies. Like I want to marry him someday. But he was already caught up in drinking. And so alcoholism really took a toll on our relationship because I spent the first year of our relationship cleaning up his messes, making sure like he didn't puke all over the place, making sure he's not like dying of pancreatitis. So a lot of the relationship was me just doing damage control. And once I realized that, I realized I can't live with somebody for another 10 years or 20 years and just be constantly doing damage control,
Yeah.
It's
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's exhausting, really.
I could imagine. So so before you guys got married, you saw he had like some addiction, and you wanted to like kind of like help fix him.
Absolutely.
You
And that
wanted
was
to.
one of my biggest flaws going into the relationship was that I thought that I could love him out of his addiction. So I thought that like if I was there for him, if I consistently like showed up for him, if I was affectionate with him, if I did everything that I had to do, then maybe like my love would make him not addicted to, drugs and alcohol.
Got you. The addiction, right? So was it just like drugs and alcohol,
It was first it started with alcohol and it didn't start off bad. It started off with him drinking like a whole case of beer and I was like, well, he was in the military, so I kind of wrote it off. I was like, people in the military just tend to have higher drinking thresholds. And then he even would, like pressure me to go with him to Mexico to buy substances in Mexico that you can't get in America. And that's when I knew. I was like, oh my God, like his addiction is really bad. Like we're crossing state lines just
yeah,
to get his pills. Like
yeah,
to me, like I'd never been with somebody who had dealt with addiction like that before. Like I hadn't dated an addict, so I wasn't really
yeah,
like sure of the extent of it. But like, can you imagine like you're dating someone and they're like, all right, if you don't go to Mexico with me, I'm gonna kick you out. Like,
yeah. So you feel like pressure to. So you guys have you have a daughter that's not 2 yet. She's 21
yeah.
months. So like, what is it? A year and like 9 months.
Yeah.
Um, and you said you've been married 2 years, right? Did your at the time when when you seen like these like habits, did you like see any sign of him like improving? Like did you?
Yes. So we actually moved in with his parents when we found out we were pregnant. The first 6 months we stayed in our own apartment, and then after that, we moved in with his parents, and I saw like a lot of improvement in his behavior. You know, he stopped drinking completely. Like, and that's the thing about addicts is they breadcrumb you with like a little bit of improvement and then stagnant, and then a little bit of improvement and then stagnant. So it's like it it drives you kind of crazy because I would see him doing better, but then like he would quit his job or he would blow all of his money on Robinhood. Like stupid things like that would come up and I would just lose all faith in him again.
I got you. Before, um, did you see like, cause I could tell you like you love this guy, right?
Mhm.
And you know when you love someone, you want to like build that family. You
Yeah.
probably want to have a kid.
Mhm.
Did you did you like think about this before you had a kid with him, or did you just trust like, oh, you're going to, like you had that faith that
I
he's going
I
to.
thought that he would be an amazing father. I truly believed that. Like when I first met him, like he had a very nurturing, kind personality. So that's why I was like, "Oh my gosh, this guy, he will be a great dad someday." And I hope that like we can be parents, you know? Like I knew that when I first met him. Like I wanted to have kids with him. And I think just like after we had our daughter, that's when I saw that he is a lot more selfish than I took into account before. And by that, I mean, like, he didn't want to wake up and, like, feed her, or he didn't want to, like, help me do this, or he would get upset if I was upset over something stupid. So, like, really having a child with somebody, I think it's important before you have that child to understand that, like, you have to have each other's backs always, and you have to, like, be there, especially for the mother when she's postpartum. And I don't think he really cared, if I'm being honest. Like, I think he only cared because he got to become a dad. And after that, though, he didn't really enjoy being a dad and having to like go to work and like provide for his family, which was a red flag, you know.
Got you. Do you feel like what is your opinion on that? Everybody has different opinions. Like, do you feel like the man should like provide for his family?
I believe that it should be a conversation that both people should have based on their upbringing as well. Because, like, I grew up in a family where my mom primarily like stayed home. She had a part-time job, but she stayed home and she raised the children. And that was something like her and my dad talked about and agreed upon. So I think that's a really important conversation to have before you get married. Like, what are your expectations for me as a wife? And what here are my expectations of you as a husband, right? Because if your expectations don't match up, then that's a room to have a broader conversation like, hey, why do you think like this? Or if you're of the opinion that the man should be the sole provider, then you need to have a conversation about that as well and make sure that both people are on the same page, because sometimes it can bring like bitterness and
Yeah.
make the person, just not happy because they feel like they're the ones solely providing everything.
Yeah, yeah. Do you feel, because the one of the questions that I usually like ask people is how long do you think you should know someone before you have a kid with them? Because
Mhm.
you knew him for like a year, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
And that's a pretty good amount of time.
Yeah.
But how long do you think, like, if you were to give advice to a
Definitely.
woman in her 20s, how long do you think a woman should know a guy before she has a kid with him?
Bef- so I know accidents happen, but in an ideal world, I think you should know somebody for at least 2 or 3 years before you have a child with them. And that's just my opinion because, like, it takes 2 to 3 years for someone to like fully take off like their show, like the performance that they're putting on for you, and to really show like who they are inside deep down. So that's just my opinion because like you also want to know them day to day and like how their habits are. Do they have good habits? How is their relationship with their parents? So if I was advising somebody who was younger, I would say, yeah, definitely wait 2 or 3 years before having a child with them, in my opinion.
I got you. I got you. So do you ever have you ever heard of the like the safe pregnancy age range? No.
No.
Do you what?
Mm-mm.
Okay, okay.
Mm-mm.
When do you think a guy should, because you have an age gap, right?
Mm-hmm.
When do you think a guy should um, have a kid? Like, do you like
Anytime after 30, I think
anytime?
for a guy after 30, yes, because like there there are a lot of really good responsible young men who can shoulder the responsibility of having a child. And I think for a man like 30 usually is a good age for him to, because he's not, in his mid 20s like partying anymore, but he's also like still excited about life. And so I think that's like a good age to start, if that makes sense.
I got you. Would you say that that's why like guys in their 30s typically like have those age gaps with women in their
Mhm.
20s? Because there are a lot of women that are, I know women that are in their 30s and
Mhm.
that have peer guys that are in their
Mhm.
30s, and they shame a lot of guys in their 30s that would date a lady in her 20s.
Mhm.
But would you say that that's why like kind of like in your situation too, like those age gaps with like a
Mhm.
man in his 30s and a woman in her,
Yeah,
20s?
and I feel like I thought like a guy in his 30s would be more mature, and women do tend to mature a little bit faster than men. So like a girl in her 20s would be like perfect age for like a guy in his early 30s, Like I think that would be a good match. And it all just depends on what you want out of life at the moment. Like, do you want children? Do you want just to have a family? Do you want a marriage and that's all? Like, you just have to evaluate those things.
Got you. That's a cool answer. So when do you think is a good age for a woman to have a kid?
Oh my goodness. I think any age for a woman is a good age to have a child. However, if I'm being so realistic, I think after like going to college and having a career, I think that's when you should have a child, and like if you can control it, because like you can also take time off from work to, raise your child and everything and then go back to work. But I think like really any time for a woman like over the age of 26 is good to have a child. So, yeah.
I got you.
Mhm.
Do you think like there's a maximum age for women? Like, would you recommend like a 45-year-old woman have a kid?
Oh, you know what? It all depends on her health and her energy levels, because I know some women who are 45 who are already in menopause, and they can't have any more children, and they're already experiencing like all the things that older women experience as, they can't have reproduce anymore. Um, so yeah, I just think probably like in your 40s is the age that
Like that
I would
maximum?
cap. Yeah, that's
That makes
that's
sense.
that's what I would say.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Um, so your daughter is, you said, okay, so 21 months. How is this? No, before I even get there,
Mhm.
it was something that we just talked about that. So you mentioned that, and I agree with you. Like
Mhm.
sometimes a mom might need that maternity leave.
Mhm.
I think in jobs, it's only a certain amount of time
Mhm.
that they allow
Yeah, like
maternity
6
leave.
months, yeah.
6 months, right? So you mentioned like the mental aspect of being a mother. Like
Mhm.
sometimes you gotta have those times where you could just be at home and
Mhm.
um, I agree with you,
Mhm.
and I just don't think that a lot of women that don't have kids
Mhm.
think about that. Like because when you think about that, you think about, okay, you might need a man that's going to be able to kind of like provide that
Mhm.
amount of. Do you get what I mean?
Mhm.
Like they're going to have to like
Yeah.
provide the, because bills are not going to
I feel like,
wait.
yeah, and that's something that the younger you have a child, the less you think about like bills and saving money and having money to live. I feel like the older you are, the more you're going to consider that in having a child, like in that factors into it like a lot. But it's a maturity thing as well, because I mean, you're gonna want your life to be like settled and like put together at least before you have a child. But everybody's gonna have their own timing. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. So I know that you're kind of healing. You're
Mhm.
healing, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Um, but let's say hypothetically, like as a 28-year-old,
Mhm.
what would your dating age range be? Like minimum to like maximum?
It's funny you asked that, because I went on the dating apps last year just to see what was on there. and I put my minimal age to be 32, so it's
32.
1 year older than my husband, so
Yeah.
that I can't see him on the dating apps. That's why I put
Yeah.
32, because I don't want to see him on the apps.
But let's say not him, but let's just say like in general, would you still go like 32?
Yeah,
So that's like your minimum. You
that's like I would say like 30 is my minimum. I would say I prefer someone who's at least 30, for a guy. But um but it was funny when I was on the apps, I put 32 just to avoid him. But like if I meet somebody and they tell me like, "Oh, I'm 30," and I'd be like, "Oh, okay, cool. That's, I can work with that." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the max, or do you does a max
Oh,
like what's the
maximum
maximum age?
age, definitely like 37 for me.
37.
37, yeah,
Okay,
because
cool.
after that, yeah, it goes into nursing home territory.
Yo, so do you feel that like do you feel like the trauma that you've been through with this marriage and relationship is going to
Yeah.
affect like how you view and interact with like probably a next guy, like you mentioned that you said a year ago in a dating app you chose 32 because
Mhm.
you're kind of like thinking about him. Do you feel like
Mhm.
this traumatic experience has made you at a point where like you're kind of like what he made you go through is kind of like going to affect like how you might interact, or how you might choose like a next
I
guy or
absolutely, because I trusted him way too quickly. Like I just immediately gave him all of my trust, all of my heart, all of my love. Like I was all in right away. And so next time I know to like pace myself with somebody, like that was my fault, right? Like I should have set the pace with him like a little bit slower and been like, "Hey, like I'm not, like let's take this back a little bit." So, I mean, after like this whole marriage and relationship and everything that I went through with him, I think I'll definitely be much more guarded and much more slow and cautious when I do meet somebody that I am interested in, because it takes time to get to know somebody. And I'm not just going to be like, "Oh, we're immediately in a relationship." Like, no, like we'll go out or we'll stay in and we'll talk and we'll get to know each other. So, yeah, it has affected everything. Yeah.
I got you. When you say patience, are you meaning like more so for like relationship title, or are you talking also about like I have a very mature channel and I talk
Mhm.
realistic. Are you also talking about like, oh, like you like a next guy will have to like wait longer for like sexual encounters and things like that, or
Not necessarily that, because I've always been like really open with that. Like if we vibe, then we vibe. But I would say more so like the relationship label and everything like that. Like I won't rush to try to put a label on the relationship and try to make it something.
yeah, I always say this, but people, I explained to you a little earlier that I've been experiencing a lot. Like I've been and I just been observant, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I never been married.
Mhm.
Um, but one thing that I realized, and a lot of people don't believe me, and it kind of like just me saying it,
Mhm.
kind of like messed up a lot of like potential relationships. And it's okay because I'd rather like tell what I observed just so we have
Mhm.
an understanding, right? Not
Mhm.
saying that I will do something
Yeah.
personally, just saying this how life is. But a lot of men, when they get a title, the exclusive, like I'm not gonna say rights, but the exclusive title with that
Mhm.
girl.
Yeah.
Would you agree that that's when a lot of guys do women like the most wrong? Like when they get that exclusive title, that's when they feel like,
Yes.
oh, I got this comfortable. Like what I like to say is that when they have like rent or like lobster or something at home, like a
Mhm.
good dish at home,
Mhm.
they're more liable to disrespect her because they already
Mhm.
have her, and then they're probably like not taking her as serious, or
Yeah.
are going out talking to like multiple women.
Yeah.
Would you agree with that, or do I just sound foolish when I say
Yes,
that?
no, I agree with
Because a
that,
lot of people think
because
I sound.
it was, and it really was this. It happened in my relationship, because the second that like he asked me to be his girlfriend, he stopped wanting to spend time with me. He stopped wanting to like really interact with me at all, and then like we got engaged because I don't even know why we got engaged. It just felt like we were rushing because we got pregnant, if I'm being honest. And it does feel like as soon as you get the title, like as soon as you get the girl, which he got the girl, he just stopped trying. And it was like lack of effort, lack of caring altogether, you know? Like what's the point of dating somebody if like you just don't care once you get them, you know?
Yeah, I see that a lot, and every time, because I try to, I have cousins that
And
feel,
it doesn't even have to
and
be like big grand gestures. It can be like something as simple as like bringing her coffee or bringing her flowers or telling her
yeah,
she looks beautiful,
I
you
always
know?
use that example because I know a lot of guys before they got a woman,
Mhm.
they give roses, but after they get the
Yeah.
woman, it's no more roses. It's like it's
Yes.
probably no more good morning texts and things like
Mhm.
that. Yeah, but yeah, it's hard to that has actually messed up potential relate because I would say that and like, oh, you're just like, they say like, oh, you're just saying that because you're gonna be like that, or you're
Mm.
just paranoid. It's like, no, I'm observant. I've never
Mhm.
been married, but like me, I
Yeah.
always learn, observe, and
Mhm.
apply.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So how do you feel like this situation is going to affect your dating life? Like,
Um, I think I have to stay single for a little while at least because I am a person who I've been like a serial relationship person. Like I will jump from relationship to relationship sort of. And I was really evaluating that in therapy like this whole last year. I was evaluating that. I was like, "Huh. Like I really haven't taken breaks in relationships and that's probably not like healthy. Like I have to take some time to get to know myself, you know, like to really take time to be there for myself and date myself. And so I think like if anything, like this whole experience has taught me that I can't pour from an empty cup and I have to invest in myself and my health and like what makes me truly happy, you know?
yeah, I got you. I got
Yeah.
you. Okay. Did I ask you what do you currently work?
I don't currently work just because I'm blessed to have veteran benefits.
Oh yeah,
So I don't, they give me a housing allowance, so I don't have to work full
that's so
time
cool.
and go to school, which is such a blessing, like such a blessing, really.
Got you. We're currently at school. Like, what is your major here?
Business admin. So I want to do the behind the scenes parts in business. And I could even work in an office, I could work as an assistant. I was really interested in becoming like an HR manager. I think I'd have a knack for that. I think I have a pretty discerning um, eye. So yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Last two questions.
Hmm.
Okay. There's no wrong answer.
Hmm.
Don't feel like you have to answer how everyone else answers. Um, does a man that you date, when you do decide to, have to make um, at least as much as you have or more?
No,
No.
not at all. Because finances, like money comes and goes. As long as he's trying and as long as he can support himself, like I don't care if he makes $30,000 or $80,000. You know?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you would date like a cashier at like Jack in the
Yeah.
Box?
Hmm.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he was like a really good guy, like and he's just genuine and fun to be around, like I wouldn't care if he was a cashier at Jack in the Box. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool. Well, I appreciate you taking the interview.
Yeah.
You look
Of
amazing. Yeah,
course.
yeah, yeah.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for taking it.
Yeah. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
you look amazing. Can I-
Thank
can
you.
we see your tattoos and
Oh
everything?
yeah,
It
of
looks cool.
course. Yeah.
The what's this in here? It looks
A
amazing.
little cat tattoo, and then there's another little cat, and then this is my life motto. It's not that deep, bro.
That's so cool. What is this one here?
This one,
See the
oh, this one's just a little sword, little sword. Yeah.
cool.
And yeah,
That's cool.
thank
Well, thank
you.
you. It's a
Yeah,
pleasure
thank you
meeting you.
so
Yeah, of course,
much.
of course.
I hope you have a good day.
You